Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling at the end of a long teaching day? The bell rings, the room finally clears out, and you're just sitting there trying to process the absolute whirlwind that just happened? Well, that's exactly why we're talking about mastering the reflective paragraph today. It might sound like just another piece of required paperwork, but honestly, it's a total game changer for your professional growth. It takes the chaos of an everyday lesson and turns it into real, actionable wisdom. Think about it. What happened in your lesson? It sounds like a super simple question, right? But if you really stop and look back at your own work, answering that objectively is incredibly tough. It's so easy to walk out of a classroom feeling like an absolute rock star or totally defeated, without actually knowing the mechanics of why. And that is exactly where a structured reflection swoops in to save the day. So here is our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll nail down exactly what a reflective paragraph is. Second, we're going to map out the structure. Third, we'll grab some essential language tools. Fourth, we'll tear apart a real-world example to see how it ticks. And finally, section 5, it'll be time for you to actually get writing. Okay, let's dive right in. Section 1, the reflective paragraph defined. So, what are we actually talking about here? Simply put, a reflective paragraph is a tool teachers use to think and write about their own teaching. I want you to really notice those two verbs, think and write. We aren't just summarizing what happened, we're engaging in a deliberate, structured practice of looking back, specifically so we can move forward. It requires stepping outside of yourself to honestly document the reality of your classroom experience. Now, to actually pull this off, every solid reflection absolutely has to answer 4 core questions. Number 1, what happened? Just the objective facts. Number 2, what worked well? You've got to celebrate those wins. Number 3, what didn't work? This is where you need to be brutally honest with yourself. And number 4, what will you improve? This right here is the magic step, turning your observation into action. If you answer these 4 questions, you've just created a complete closed loop of professional feedback. All right, let's look at the anatomy, section 2, structure of a reflection. Good writing is all about good architecture. You need a sturdy skeleton to hold your thoughts together. For a reflection, we rely on 3 structural pillars to guide you from the big picture overview down to your nitty-gritty future plans. Step 1 is your topic sentence, setting the stage. Step 2 contains the supporting details. That's the real meat of the reflection. And step 3 is the concluding sentence, which basically builds your bridge into the future. Let's zoom in on these. For step 1, the topic sentence, you want to instantly deliver a clear overview of the lesson right out of the gate. Take this example. This lesson was successful in helping students improve their speaking skills. Boom. It's direct, it's confident. And right away, there's absolutely no mystery for the reader about the core objective or the general outcome. Then we hit step 2, the supporting details. Think of this middle section as the real trials of your journey. This is where you lay it all out, your successes, and the areas needing improvement. But here's the catch. Just identifying what went right or wrong isn't enough. You have to explain why. It's never enough to just say an activity bombed. Was it the timing? Were the instructions confusing? Was the material just too dry? You've got to dig into the reasons. And to express those reasons clearly, you're going to need the right vocabulary. Let's jump to section 3, essential language and tools. Think of linking words as the connective tissue holding your ideas together. When you're adding info, toss in an also or in addition. When you need to pivot from a win to a struggle, use a contrast word like however or although. Explaining a reason, use because. Giving a result, drop in a so or therefore. These little words are absolutely crucial because they keep your writing logical and stop it from sounding like a frantic, choppy list of random thoughts. Next up, we have verbs of discovery. Words like noticed, found, realized, or observed. Think about the difference between writing, I think they liked it, versus, I observed that students were highly engaged. See the difference? Using these specific verbs instantly gives your reflection a professional edge. It basically frames you as a sharp, observant classroom researcher gathering hard data. Now, let's string those together into some incredibly useful plug-and-play phrases. I found that perfectly sets up the situation. Students were able to highlights your big wins. However, is your pivot to the tricky stuff. This happened because locks in your reasoning. And in the future, I will establishes your action plan. Keep these phrases in your back pocket. Seriously, they are absolute lifesavers when you're staring at a blank page and writer's block kicks in. All right, let's see how this actually looks in the wild. Section 4, analyzing a model example.
Okay, so we are looking at a full master example paragraph. I know, it looks incredibly dense right now, just a solid wall of text, but let's read a bit of it. After teaching this lesson, I found that most students were able to understand the topic. However, some students had difficulty understanding the instructions. This happened because the instructions were not clear enough. In the future, I will give clearer instructions. Now, as promised, let's decode this.
When we actually break it down, you can see exactly how our toolkit maps right on to this paragraph. The writer kicks off with their topic, I found. Then the positive win, students participated. Next, they introduce the problem, instructions were unclear, immediately followed by the crucial reason, because. And they wrap it all up with their future plan, I will. It's brilliant. They use the structure, they use the linking words, and they nailed all 4 core questions. It is basically the perfect architectural build.
Which brings us to our final step, Section 5, Time to Write.
Now I am officially handing the reins over to you. Your challenge is to write a short, 100 to 120 word reflective paragraph about a recent lesson you taught. You've got an explicit checklist ready to go. Include what happened, what worked well, what didn't work, exactly why it didn't work using the word because, and finally, your future plan. Treat this checklist just like a recipe and you literally can't go wrong. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to think about. What will you improve in your next lesson? Look, the absolute best teachers out there aren't the ones who deliver perfect lessons every single time. There's no such thing. The best teachers are the ones who reflect honestly and constantly evolve. You've got the structure, the vocabulary, and the blueprint to document that evolution. So go ahead, write that paragraph, answer that question, and take total control of your teaching journey. Thanks so much for joining me today, and happy reflecting.